Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm actually about to go head out and review a 2004 Crown Vic, so let's get on with the review. Alright guys, so with me I've got the 2004 Ford Crown Vic P71. It's the police package, so if you think this is a police car, it's not, but it definitely looks like a police car, and so that's what I'm going to talk about with the styling. So first of all, I mean, you see this coming down the road and you're going to kind of hit the brakes for a second, and so you've got, what I like a lot about this is this little line right here. It goes all the way down. I like that a lot, and the blacked out grille looks really nice. And before he kind of got busted, he did have the little guardrail up here that looked like a cop car. It was really cool, and the light bar up there. But overall, the styling of this, it's not like outrageous, but for what it is, I think it's a very nice looking car, and you're definitely going to get a lot of people to look because they're going to think this is a cop car. All right, so this body style you might recognize. This actually ran from 1998 to 2012, so it's been going on for a while, and the only thing they really updated in the new one is they added a tachometer. This only has a speedometer on it. The other thing I really like about this are these like center lock wheels. This is just a hubcap, but it just kind of adds to the overall style of it. I like those a lot. The other thing is this car is really long. It's a 4-door, so all the other cars I've reviewed so far have been 2 doors, but it's about 221 inches long, and it's a big car. All right, so onto the practicality of this car. This is way more practical than the other 2 cars I've reviewed so far. First of all, it's 4 doors, so you're gonna be able to fit a lot more people. And the front is a bench seat, which means you're gonna be able to put 6 people in here. Imagine trying to do that in a Mustang. It's not gonna work. But the trunk is also very large. I'll put a little clip here of, he's got some tires in the back, and it stores those perfectly fine. The leg room is great, the seats are comfortable, and it's just a really practical car. I mean, this is kind of meant to be a daily driver, and cops have to use it to haul people around. So overall, it's not gonna be anything that's like an annoyance for you on a daily basis. All right, so onto the comfortableness of this car. It's basically like driving around a couch. I mean, the seats are really comfortable, and I mean, if you're driving people that rob gas stations, you need them to be comfortable when they're in there. So overall, it's a fairly comfortable car. Everything is just easy to reach, and it's right where you need it. Under the interior of this car with the comfortableness, you kind of feel like you're sitting at home watching TV. You can put another person right here, which is, I mean, it's cool. It's definitely different. You don't see that in cars nowadays. The steering wheel, it grips well, and you've kind of got like a relaxed position for your hands right here. Okay, and furthermore, with the visibility of this, you've got a really big rear view mirror here, and your blind spots are practically eliminated because this is a 4-door car. Plenty of room to see behind you and in front of you. Overall, it's a pretty practical and comfortable car. Nothing like luxurious, but this is a 2004, and I mean, for the price of this car, they retailed when they came out brand new at $12,000. I mean, you're getting what you pay for. I mean, $12,000 is a heck of a deal for this, especially with how comfortable it is. All right, so onto the acceleration of this car. In here, we've got a 4.6 liter V8 putting out probably about 250 horsepower, and you're not going to expect any crazy acceleration numbers. 9.5 seconds 0 to 60. That is kind of slow for now, but when this came out, it needed to keep up with all the people that wanted to run from the cops. So this definitely needed to move, and it's not on the heavier end of cars that they could have picked. Is it heavy?
It's really heavy.
Also in here, I don't know if you can see it, I'll overlay a little image, but the battery he has in here says power on it. So that alone is probably going to add a lot of horsepower to the car. So the handling of this car, for a 4,200 pound sedan, it handles pretty well, but when you put it up against sports cars and anything that's made for a back road, it's definitely gonna feel like a boat. I mean, this wasn't designed to be on a racetrack or anything. All right, so driving this on the highway, it's a really smooth ride. I mean, you don't feel any bumps, or you don't really hear the road. He does have the muffler or the exhaust a little unhooked, so you get a little bit of that V8 rumble, which I like a lot. And the other interesting thing that we just were talking about is everybody looks at this car, which is kind of fun because one, they think, who's this idiot driving a Interceptor that's not a cop, or who's this cop? It's definitely a smooth ride. It's kind of like driving a boat. The only reason the steering wheel's shaking like this is just because he has a spare tire on the front right. It wouldn't normally be doing this, but I mean, if you hold it still, it's not really going to jiggle. But overall, great car on the highway. It's got 4 gears, well, technically 3, and the 4th one's an overdrive. So gas mileage, I'd assume, isn't too bad, but it's you're not, I mean, buy a Prius if you're wanting fuel economy. Alright, so backroad driving, you just saw that clip of me driving back there. It's honestly what you would expect from this car. You're not buying a race car, it's more of a touring car, but the torque is definitely there. When you downshift and it goes into the lower gear, it definitely pulls. It feels almost fat, it feels meatier than my car. You can tell the weight of this car, and the steering, it's not like, the steering isn't necessarily tuned to be a sports car handling car. The way the hand rests are, it's more of just kind of a laid back driving car. But honestly, it's still fun to take on a back road. It would be nice to have a little bit more side bolstering on the seats, just because when you do take a turn, you're kind of bracing yourself with your knee over here, and then this leg's just kind of doing whatever it wants. But overall, decent car on the back road. Pulling into the drive-through at Wendy's, definitely not the second time today I've come, but I mean, the visibility is great, which is really nice for this. I'd say the only annoyance would be just because the exhaust is cut, like talking to people at the window. But I mean, you don't have to worry about the clearance or anything. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, we'll test out the cup holder situation and all that when we get the food. Let's have an order of small fries and a cup of water, please. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
She totally saw that.
Yeah. Alright, so we got our food. She did not seem happy that we were filming her. Alright, so I'm just gonna pull in right here and talk about kind of the cup holder situation. We do have 2 cup holders right here, which are really handy. They hold in great, and they can kind of adjust for any size. I think, are there cup holders in the back? Okay, there's no cup holders in the back, but you got space to set stuff. So food, this is actually really nice. My car doesn't really have anywhere to put the food, but with this car, you can kind of just set your food here and eat, and I'm sure it's pretty easy to clean these seats. You can even set your food up here if you needed to. So overall, I think this is going to score very well in the drive-through category, which is all that really matters in this review.
All right, so on the styling, this car looks all right. It's pretty plain, and it was made a long time ago, and it receives a 3 out of 10. Practicality is really decent. Being able to fit 6 people and a large trunk is very beneficial, and it receives an 8 out of 10. The comfortableness is also really good, and it receives an 8 out of 10. Add all those up and you get a 19 in the daily score. Performance 0 to 60 in about 9.5 seconds, and it receives a 3 out of 10. Handling is nothing fantastic. This isn't much of a handling car, and it does weigh a lot, and it receives a 2 out of 10. Add those up and you get a 5 out of 20 in the performance category. Onto the different types of driving. Highway is fantastic. This thing drives like a boat, and it receives a 9 out of 10. Backroads, it receives a 3 out of 10. This wasn't really designed to be a sports car, and although it can keep up with other cars, it's still not very fun on a backroad. Stoplight traffic driving, it receives a 5 out of 10. It's nothing fantastic. It is an automatic, which makes it decent, but at the same time, it doesn't have all the creature comforts you expect in some of the newer cars. Onto the drive-through, it receives a 9 out of 10. I only docked it 1 point because of the loud exhaust. Thrill level, this car wasn't made to be much of a thrill car. It is a fun car to drive, however, and it receives a 4 out of 10. Add it all up, and the whole score is 54 out of 100 for the 2004 Ford Crown Victoria.